Welcome back to my channel. Okay, today I'm going to explain about teaching English to young learners, or we usually call it TYL. In this video, I will cover the principle of TYL, how to teach skills to young learners, the step for teaching receptive and productive skills, some approach and method, and how to use songs, games, and stories in the classroom. I will also give some real example. Let's get started. Okay. Okay. The principle of TYL. So let's talk about the principle of TYL. Why do we need a different approach for children compared to adults? Okay, point one, learn holistically. Learn holistically is children don't just learn language. Just learn language in their brain. They learn it with their whole body and feelings, like TPR. So when we teach, we should involve movement, emotion, and the sense, not just talk. Okay. Point two is need concrete context. Young learner can really understand about abstract explanation. That's why we use real object, picture, or realia, so the meaning is clear immediately. Next is short attention span. These kids get bored fast, so our activities need to be short, varied, and fast-paced. Maybe change activity every 5 to 10 minutes. Next is learn through play. And this is important for young learners. Playing is not just a break time activity. Play actually is how they learn best. Songs, games, stories. These are the main method, not just bonus. Okay. Next, how to teach skills to young learners. Now, before we go into specific skills, here are some general guidelines that apply to all skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. First, use demonstrate, not explanation. So model and act it out. Okay. Instead of explaining grammar, just show it, act it out. Use gestures. Okay. Second, repeat with variation. Repetition is important for the children to remember, but we change the context a little bit each time so it doesn't feel boring or mechanical. Next is keep instruction simple. One instruction at a time and support it with gesture or picture. And fourth, the last, build in movement and fun. Pair language with physical action or TPR, so the body helps the brain remember the language. Okay. Okay, this is receptive skills. Okay, receptive skills have to listening and reading. Okay, now the listening is have 3 steps: pre-listening, while listening, post-listening. And in pre-listening, we activate their prior knowledge first. Maybe show picture or ask simple questions. And while listening, we play the audio or song and learners do a simple task like pointing or acting out. And the last is post-listening. We check their understanding, maybe through drawing or simple question and answer. It's basically the same pattern for reading. For reading is introduce vocabulary first using flashcard, While reading, read aloud with expression. Learner follow pictures and predict what next. Okay. The post reading is they retell the story or answer simple yes or no question. So you can see both follow the same three-stage pattern before, during, and after. Okay. Next is a step in teaching productive skills. We have speaking and writing. For speaking, modeling is a teacher show the target first with gesture or props, and second is guide practice like choral, drilling, or chants, still with support. Okay, and next is free production, and finally they use the language freely, maybe in a role play or a game. For writing, it's similar: pre-writing, guided writing, independent writing. Free writing is stretching letter or copying words. Guiding writing is filling in blank with support. Independent writing, finally, they write short sentence on their own, guided by an example. So the pattern for productive skill is model first, and next is guide them, then let them produce independently. Okay. Next. Okay, next is approach and method in TYL. Now, let's talk about some approach and method that teacher usually use when planning a TYL lesson. TPR, or total physical response. Learner responds to commands using body movement before they even need to speak. Okay. Next is CLT, communicative language teaching. This focus on real, meaningful communication, not just grammar drilling. Next is the natural approach. This tries to imitate how children naturally acquire their first language, with a lot of listening input and low pressure to speak early. And last, CLEL, content and language integrated learning. English is learned through other subject like art or science. And for techniques, teachers commonly use flashcard, relia chants, and roleplay, drawing tasks, games, and storytelling, basically tools to make the approach come alive in the classroom. Tips: in real teaching, we usually don't use just one approach. We mix 2 or 3 together depending on the lesson. Okay, slide 7. Now this is probably my favorite part: songs, games, and stories. These are honestly the most powerful tools in a young learner classroom. Songs help build rhythm, pronunciation, and vocabulary memory through melody and repetition. Next, games lower anxiety and raise motivation. Children practice language while having fun. And last, stories develop listening, comprehension, and imagination through narrative. And honestly, if it's not enjoyable for the child, it's probably not effective teaching yet. Okay. Next is classroom example, song and a game. Let me give you 2 real examples of how this work in the classroom. Case 1, using a song to teach body part, or TPR. For example, the song head, shoulder, knees, neck, and toes. The teacher sings while touching each body part, then learner imitate, then sing along. And finally, we play it faster as a fun challenge. This turns vocabulary into something physical and memorable. Case 2, using a game to practice vocabulary. For example, Simon Say. With animal flashcard, the teacher holds up a card and say a command, like Simon Say, hop like a rabbit. Learners only move if Simon says. Include this build listening, focus, and vocabulary recall. But it feels like play, not a test. But example actually follow the same pattern: clear modeling, then active participation, and then playful repetition. Okay, next is storytelling example and recap. And here's an example using a story. Let's say we use the very hungry caterpillar. The teacher reads aloud with big expression and pause to ask, "What do you think he eats next?" Learner point to the pictures, repeat the food words, and at the end, they retell the story using picture cards. This combines listening, vocabulary, and speaking all in one activity. Okay, it worked because the story has predictable structure, repetition, and visuals. So even with limited vocabulary, young learner can still follow along. So to recap everything quickly, we learn holistically, concrete, and through play. Receptive skills follow while post-productive skills follow model, guide, produce. We have methods like TPR, CLT, natural approach, and CLEL, and songs, games, and stories are what really drive engagement in the classroom. Okay, so this is classing. Thank you very much. So that my explanation about teaching English to young learners, or TYL. Teaching young learners will really means teaching with petitions, play, and purpose. Thank you so much for watching. This is for my final exam project vlog. Yeah, see you in the next video. Bye bye. See ya.